All right, now you're here for Foresight 2020. We don't want to look back at 2020 and think, oh, what could have we done? We're looking ahead. And the purpose of this webinar is to give you some techniques and tools you can use to double your revenue next year. You're in the right place if you are a small business owner, you're either a solopreneur or you have a small staff. If you are an author, a coach, or a speaker, and you make your living by selling your ideas, or if you make your living by helping other people sell their ideas as a marketer or as a salesperson. Also, this is going to be the right place for you if you already have a website and you already have an email list and you already have offers to sell. If you don't have all three of these, you're welcome to stay and watch the webinar. I'm sure you'll learn some interesting things, but the tactics and the techniques that I'm going to be going over might be a little more advanced than your current level. But you know that you're in the right place if you have a website and you have an email list and you have offers to sell. You're also in the right place if you want to double your revenue next year without doubling how much you work. If you want to focus on spreading your message and shining your light while your systems sell for you automatically, then this is going to be the right place for you. So I'm going to go over a quick agenda. This is what we're going to talk about today. The first thing that we're going to discuss is the problems of platforms. And I'm going to give you some vocabulary that we can use to talk about some things. We're going to go over some case studies of how other people have elevated their platform. And I'm going to give you some specific tools and techniques you can use to do that. I'm going to give you 3 practical methods that you can use to double your revenue in 2020. And that's going to lead into the different tiers of offers that you can have. There's 4 ways that people can buy from you. And if you understand what all 4 of these ways are, then it helps you look at your offers in a way that that's really going to be good for deciding which path you want to take in 2020. I'm going to dispel some myths, some common myths about what you're selling, and I'm going to give you a practical tool that you can use to decide how you want to spend your time. All right? There's also going to be some bonuses at the end, and these are bonuses only for people watching this webinar. The first is a revenue calculator that's going to help you figure out how you should spend your time and which offers you should be promoting. The next bonus is only for viewers of this webinar. It's a webinar-only sidecar offer. I'll explain that at the end. And I'm going to offer a video homepage review, but you have to stay till the end of the webinar to learn to get all 3 of these bonuses, okay? So first, I want to clarify some vocabulary. When I use the word platform, you know, this word can be used a lot of different ways online. And as the creative director of a digital marketing agency called Stellar Platforms, I use this word in a very particular way. I look at a platform as a collection of ideas and offerings delivered by an individual person. If you have something to say and something to sell, you have a platform. All right, now if you have a platform, if you see yourself as falling in this category, say yes in the checkbox. Just say, yes, that's me, I have a platform. And that way I know that you're in the right place. Platforms typically have 3 problems. The first problem is you don't want to be the salesperson. You don't want to be selling your offers all the time. You want to be sharing your expertise and shining your light. However, the second problem with a platform is that sales don't happen unless you are the one selling them. You have to be continually promoting your offers, because if you're not, then sales don't happen unless you are out there selling them. And then there's this third problem I see with platforms, is that you can put a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of resources into creating new content. And the content you create isn't always justified financially by the time and the energy you put into creating it. So if any of these 3 problems resonates with you, go ahead and put a number in the chat box. If there's one of these problems that you are facing in your business right now, just put number 1, number 2, number 3. Like, which one of these problems resonates the most with you? Vince says all three. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Now, I face these problems myself, and I faced them for a long time. When I first started on the internet 10 years ago, I fell prey to the typical marketing advice, which was you can start a blog and you can publish so anyone in the world can read your content, and then something, something, and then you profit. And so I got really into blogging, and I've written more than 1,000 posts in my time on the internet. And I've written on a bunch of topics, things that interested me, because that's what all the advice said. You know, write about your interests, and then you'll build a community, and then something, something, and you'll profit. And this is one of my blogs. I had a long-running blog on the overlap of my interests in personal development and fatherhood. But this blog wasn't a financially sustainable enterprise. It was just a clearinghouse for the content that I was creating. And so I fell prey to another common marketing myth online, that if you make an online course, then something, something, and you'll make lots of money. And so I tried that, and I put together a father fitness program, and I put in a lot of time, and I made a lot of content, and it wasn't worth the time I put into it. But what I did find is that I made 3 common mistakes. And you might have made these mistakes in your journey as well. I was talking about the things that I wanted to talk about. I didn't talk about the things that customers were paying for. I was also unable to clearly show people how they could buy from me. I was so uncomfortable with selling that I didn't make it clear and easy for people to take advantage of my offers. But my biggest mistake was that I didn't research my customer. It wasn't until I had created all of this that I realized that young fathers, my target market, they don't want to buy personal development products. They're too busy. The things that they wanted to buy were things that I wasn't able to provide to them. Things like relationship counseling. Things like a parenthood therapy. It wasn't my field. And so I hit these 3 mistakes hard, but I found something else. When you go to the market with what you're selling, everybody doesn't care. Seth Godin said this, and it really opened my eyes, that I couldn't just show up and say, hey, I have an offer, and expect anybody to care. I had to find out what they already cared about. And so that's how I got into marketing, is I was trying to figure out, why didn't this work? And so since then, I've made it my business to figure out how people buy, why they buy, and how to make it easy for the right types of people to buy. And in that whole father fitness experience, it turned out that the one thing I was good at was making the platform. Making the branding and the logo and the graphic design and the website design and the copywriting and the email, like all that stuff was fun for me. And so I started making platforms for other people and working with people who had a platform and they wanted to elevate it, because it turned out that that's something that people wanted to buy. And as over the last few years, as I've run this digital marketing agency, I've identified 4 levels of platforms that naturally evolve over time. And the first level is a soapbox. And anybody can get on a soapbox and get attention as long as they have something to say. But it's not until you have something to sell that it becomes a commercial enterprise. And that's when your platform becomes a showroom. When your messaging is focused around the things you have on offer and how people can buy from you. And showrooms are great because you can make a business out of a showroom. But a showroom has a ceiling. And that's why the next level, once you evolve beyond a showroom, is when you get to the stage. And the stage is when you can share your message and shine your light, and members of your audience will self-select into working with you. And your systems handle the selling for you automatically. The final level of the platform is the stadium. And this is where your strategy becomes much more important, because you have to decide which stages you go on. And you have to be a lot more, you have to determine where you spend your time a lot more strategically. So if you identify with any one of these levels, go ahead and type the word in the chat box and let me know which level you think that your platform is at right now. If you're at a soapbox or a showroom or a stage or a stadium, what level is your platform right now? This is where I really specialize, is helping people move from the showroom to the stage when they already have offers and they want to increase their capacity to serve their audience. And I do this through cornerstones. Every platform has 4 cornerstones. We've already talked about 2 of them. There's what you say, and there's what you sell. We could call these the external cornerstones. But you also have 2 internal cornerstones at the back of your platform. These aren't the ones that people see. When you're sharing your message, people see what you're saying. They see what you're selling. But your strategy and your systems are just as important to supporting your platform. We could call these cornerstones on the left side your visionary cornerstones, and the ones on the right side, your practical cornerstones. And you need all 4. If one of your cornerstones is not as strong as the others, if you've got one cornerstone that's really great, but the others aren't at the same level, your platform will always be tilted to your weakest cornerstone. Does that make sense? If your strategy is weak, you're always going to be pulled back to your strategy. If your sales process is weak, it's going to dominate your attention. You'll be doing other things, but the mistakes that you're making in that weak cornerstone are always going to be coming back to you. So out of these 4, if there's one cornerstone that you know you need to work on, that you know is keeping you from upgrading your platform, type that cornerstone name in the chat box. Just a quick informal poll. Let me know which cornerstone you know you need to work on next. If you were going to double your revenue next year, which cornerstone would you have to focus on in order to make sure that you can upgrade your platform? Great. Eric says systems. Matt says what you say. Yep. Everybody's different. Everybody's business is different. What we have to improve is all different. Wendy says her systems. Yep. So I'm going to give you some case studies now on how upgrading a specific cornerstone can help elevate your platform. And we're going to start by talking about strategy. I was working with a client named Lisa Garr. She's the host of a nationally syndicated radio program called The Aware Show that airs on KPFK out of Los Angeles. And she's been doing this for more than a decade. And what she loves to do is to interview book authors. And she's got a niche. She interviews authors in the fields of neuroscience, consciousness, and spirituality. And she wanted to increase her revenue, but didn't want to just go to market with new offers. She wanted to keep doing what she was good at and what she loved to do, which was interview book authors. And so we created telesummits where we would interview 10 guests around a topic, and she'd talk to them about their book and talk to them about their work. And then at the end, say, if you want to learn more about what John Assaraf is working on, then go to theawareshow.com/Assaraf. And every interview ended with a call to action to go to the guest's website through Lisa's affiliate link. And so what she was able to do is keep interviewing book authors. She didn't have to create a new product to sell. She just had to use a good strategy to keep doing what she liked to do and leverage the assets that she had available, which was the fact that a lot of high-profile authors that had programs to sell would come on her show and she could promote them. We did 6 telesummits in 2015, and each one generated $250,000 in revenue. They were hugely successful. And so a good strategy for Lisa Garr helped elevate her platform. And now I want to talk about systems. I love systems. One of the reasons I work with thought leaders so much, with authors and coaches and speakers, is because I'm a systems guy. I like getting on stage and I like talking to people, so I understand the visionary cornerstones very well, but where my gift is on the practical cornerstone. So I make a really good complement to thought leaders. And I had a client who said, hey, I want to do a webinar. And so I said, okay, I'll bring out my templates. These are the pages we're going to make, and these are the emails we're going to send. And I put it all together for him. And then I said, hey, at this point right here, after somebody's seen your webinar and they've purchased your program, and then we send them this welcome email right here, let's also invite them to join an affiliate program. So we've got a system in the system. And when they're the most convinced that their purchase was a good idia right after they bought from you, let's enroll them in this affiliate program and get them to share your webinar with their network. So we bake in some viral sharing. And by putting systems in systems, it allows this New York Times bestselling author, James Twyman, to go around and share his message and direct people to his evergreen webinar, which shares itself, because the systems are in place behind him to sell his offers automatically. What you say has two meanings. There's what you say in terms of your expertise. You get on your platform because you have something to share. And that expertise, there's ways to package it so that people can digest it the best way. And that's generally the work of the thought leader. The work of the entrepreneur is to provide that value. But there's also what you say about your offers and how you describe your offers. Because you don't want to just be selling it all the time. You want to say something that's in harmony with your brand and your values. And this was the problem faced by Lee Holden. He's a Qigong teacher out of Santa Cruz, and he does a lot of PBS specials. He's worked a lot with Weight Watchers. He's a regular at Mind Valley conferences, and he had a number of audio meditations that he wanted to package together. And so we created this membership area to put all of his digital products into one place, and we packaged them in this tiered offer. But he said, I don't want to get up on stage and say, go buy my product. And so we gave him something else to say. We made a free 5-day mini course where people could try Qigong. So when he got up on stage and he asked his audience to stand up and led them through some meditations and breathing exercises, and they felt great, what he would say is, go to my website and you can get a free 5-day Qigong mini course. And this course automatically upsells them into a paid 30-day course. And you can try this course if you like. I love Qigong personally. I do it every day. And there's my link at the bottom, bethebetterdad.com/Qigong-5. Go ahead and write that down. If you want to try Qigong yourself, I highly recommend this course. Well, I put it together, but also it's a really nice progression of just short 7-minute exercises you can do at your desk. You just stand up and do some breathing. They're great. But what was really wonderful about giving him this thing to say is that the systems behind him automatically sold his higher priced products. So after you enroll in this course, after some time, you'll start to get sales messages that are in harmony with Lee's brand voice so that you can be exposed to his offers without him having to sell it. It's only the people who are interested in going further in his funnel that are presented the offer messages. And now I want to talk about what you sell. And this is the revenue generating cornerstone. This is the moneymaker, literally right here. And most offers are at the end of a sales funnel. And if you think, oh, I don't have a sales funnel, if you have a website, yes, you do. Websites, in my view, are naturally sales funnels because the homepage is for strangers. And it's got language that is for people who don't know you at all, who are learning about you. And there are other pages on your website that have more intimate language, that assume you know the vocabulary And by the time you get to the thank you page after somebody's purchased, the way you communicate with somebody on that page is different than the way you communicate with somebody at a home page. Now you can get very sophisticated with sales funnels. And, for some clients, I do parallel sales funnels that focus on, multiple demographics. But a sales funnel could also look as simple as a progression, as a customer journey. And when you lay out all the stages of your sales funnel, it does a number of really good things. First, it allows you to identify where there could be friction. Second, it allows you to go through the steps as if you were the customer and identify how you could improve the process. And when you go through that process, when you identify how your customer wants to go through it, then you make it easier for a stranger to become a customer. And that's really the point of a sales funnel, is you want to curate that customer journey from stranger to customer. Okay, so now we've talked about the 4 cornerstones. Now I want to get to the good stuff. And I'm going to tell you 3 ways that you can double your revenue next year. You might not be able to use all 3 of these because we've all got different businesses with different models. But I'm confident that even if you can't use all 3, that one of these would be applicable to you. And the first way is you can just double your rates. If you charge $50 an hour, charge $100 an hour. If you charge $2,000 a month, charge $4,000 a month. But there's a problem with this. And I'm sure you can guess what this problem is. And I'll get to the problem and talk about it in a second. But first, I'm going to tell you the second way that you can double your revenue in 2020. And that's to double your KPI traffic. Your KPI, your key performance indicator, is the constant metric between what comes before and what comes after. If you know it takes 10 phone calls to make a sale, you can make 20 phone calls and make twice as many sales. If you know that you have a sales page that converts at 2%, then you can double the traffic to get to that, to get double the sales. But there's a problem with this too. And I think you might know what it is. But before I get to the problem, I'm going to tell you the third way. And this is actually my favorite way. If you want to double your revenue, to launch a new offer. And there's a number of reasons why this is my favorite way to double the revenue. But before I tell you that, let's review the problems here. The first problem is that your current clients, they're not going to pay you twice as much just because you want to earn twice as much. The second problem is you don't know which KPIs to measure and how to identify what the constant metric is that you can use to leverage. And the third problem is just because you launch a new offer, it doesn't mean it's going to be successful. My favorite solution to these problems is the cluster strategy. The cluster strategy is the idea that every offer is a combination of a market, a message, and a mode. Your message is the value you're delivering. And that might just be content, or it might be a widget, or it might be a service. Your market is who you sell it to. And your mode is how you deliver it to them. If you change any one of these three, you can double your rates. You can launch a new offer. So if you are charging $300 an hour to a specific market, giving a specific set of advice, you could charge $600 an hour giving that same advice to a different market, and you won't get that friction from your current market. You can make a new offer to the same market and charge double. So that's how you double, is by changing one of these three aspects of the cluster strategy. I was introduced to this strategy by Peter Cook, and he co-wrote a book called The Thought Leader's Practice. And this is the best business book I have read in 2019, hands down. And I don't say that lightly. I read a lot of books, and I read a lot of good books, and this one is amazing. So write this down if you haven't heard of this book yet. It's a phenomenal book that was written by 3 Australian business coaches. And their methodology for helping thought leaders scale their business is really fantastic. And Peter has an offer stack that I really like. He's got his book that he sells. He's got a keynote that he sells. He's got a group training program that he sells, and he's got one-on-one coaching that he sells. So he has 4 tiers of offers. And I find that the most successful thought leaders and entrepreneurs, they have an offer in each of these 4 tiers. They've got a one-to-one service, a one-to-few program, a one-to-many offer, and a one-to-any offer. And so if we were going to put these on a graph, we could say that the vertical axis is price and the horizontal axis is people. That the most expensive way for you to sell your time is one-on-one. It's quite natural that people who have a one-on-one business model eventually get to one-to-few. You know, if you're a one-on-one business coach and you charge $500 an hour, then you put together a one-to-few program and everybody pays $200 an hour and there's 10 people. So everybody gets a deal. The people in the program pay less than the premium hourly rate. The service provider gets more than the premium hourly rate, so everybody's happy. One-to-many is an offer where you're on the stage, and you might monetize this offer with individual ticket sales or with a one-off fee for speaking to an entire group. But then there's this interesting dividing line where your presence is required above this line. But for one-to-any offers, you don't have to be there. And that's why this is where you can scale the most. Your one-to-any offers are your books and your online courses. I think online courses are priced all wrong. I've spent a number of years working in online education development, and what I've seen behind the scenes is really fascinating. That there's all this marketing language out there around how you should build an online course, and plenty of people will buy it. But what I'm seeing in market, having helped many people produce and sell online courses, is that they're priced like a class when they should be priced like a book because they're consumed like a book. Think about it. A one-to-few offer, the great things about a one-to-few offer is you get direct access to the teacher. You get feedback on what you are working on. You get a community of peers who are working through the material with you. And you don't get any of that with an online course. And so I've been working with some clients to test out book-based pricing for online courses and to repackage them as tripwire products that cross-sell these higher priced services. And it's been very interesting to see what's been happening in that space. And this is the first myth that I want to dispel about making money from your platform, is that information can be sold for premium prices. Information wants to be free, right? As Peter Cook likes to say, information is free, the experience is expensive. I'll say that again because I think it's important. The information is free, it's the experience that's expensive. The second myth is that just because you've built something, people are going to come and check it out and educate themselves about it. You have to tell people about your offers, and you have to provide value in a way that creates interest so that people want to hear about the offer because they've already gotten value from you. The third myth is that mentioning what you sell is tacky and you shouldn't do it. Mentioning what you sell and making an offer to people can be done in harmony with your brand and your voice. As long as you're not just schlepping your stuff to anybody and everybody, you can make mention and make pitches for your offers to support your platform. And it doesn't have to be tacky. It can be done really well. And I have some ideas on that I'll get to in a little bit. But the next myth I want to dispel is that if it's difficult to buy from you, people are going to figure it out. I like to do user testing on a purchase process, because if there's any friction, if a 70-year-old who doesn't know how to use the internet very well can't complete a purchase on your website, then it's highly likely that you're losing sales because it's not laid out in a clear and easy manner. And the fifth myth that I want to dispel is that you'll get it right on the first try. And I've been through a lot of launches and I've created a lot of funnels and I've watched a lot of things happen on the internet. And even people who are extremely experienced, they say you're not going to get it right on the first try. Julie Stoyan is the VP of marketing for ClickFunnels. So she knows a thing or two about funnels. She's been around on the internet for a long time. And when she launches a funnel, it isn't right on the first try. It has to be revised. And so if you've got funnels that you need to revise, I have a program that I'm going to tell you about in a little bit. But first, I want to review the agenda. We went over the problems of platforms. We talked about 4 case studies of how you can use a cornerstone to elevate your platform. I gave you 3 practical methods you could use to double your revenue next year. We went over the 4 tiers of offers. I dispelled a few myths about what you're selling. And now I want to give you the first bonus for the webinar. And this is the revenue calculator. This is how you can calculate where you should be spending your time in your business. So I'm going to hop out of the slideshow for a minute, and I'm going to come on over into Chrome, and we're going to look at a revenue calculator. Now, you're going to get a link to this Google Sheet. After when I send you the replay, you'll have a link to this sheet, but you won't be able to edit it. What you're going to need to do is follow these instructions. You go to File, make a copy, and you'll make a copy that you can edit. I recommend that you put your name here so that you know whose it is. And it's going to be saved to your own Google Drive. And then you'll be able to edit this document. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and drop this link into the chat box so that if you want to bookmark this for later, you can. There we go. Okay, so when you make a copy of this calculator, there's 3 steps. The first is you're going to list all your services in all your offer tiers, 1-to-1, 1-to-few, 1-to-many, and 1-to-any. And then you're going to set in your yellow box values. If you made $250,000 last year and you want to make $500,000 next year, put that number in the yellow box. The yellow boxes are for you to put content in. Let's say your hourly rate is $350 an hour and you want to have 3 weeks off every year. What this is going to do, it's going to calculate, starting with your higher price services. If you want to give 5 coaching sessions a week, then it'll say, okay, that's going to be $90,000 a year, assuming this 3 weeks off every year. You can modify these numbers to make changes, and it's going to add them up per tier. And then this green number is going to be your total revenue for your platform for the year. And so when you go through and you say, hey, I have a group training program, I have a in-person retreat, and I do a lot of work with speakers, and so I have Keynote down here. Most speakers have multiple keynotes, and some of them sell at different prices. And if you know that you're going to give 2 retreats and you want 10 people per retreat, and the ticket price is $37.50, it'll calculate how much money that's going to make you. And if you say, well, wait, what if I had 3 sessions per year? It'll modify, and you'll see the numbers here. So what you want to do is get your green number to match your yellow number. And that's the purpose of this calculator. It's got a couple of other features I'll go over with you real quick. If you have a book, you can put in how many you want to sell. Like, you can either say I make 15 per copy because I've self-published, or I'm with a publisher, so I only make $3 per copy. And you could see, well, if I'm going to make serious money in this, I need to sell this many copies. And you can list lead magnets down here. I find this useful just because, I do a lot of funnel work to figure out how to cross-sell these. There's another tab here called production, and it automatically populates everything in column A, so that if you've changed the names for things, it's going to show it up here. And if you want to put in things that you want to create next year, then it gives you a little workflow for what you want to, what else you still have to do. You can create fill colors and say, this needs to be done, so I'm going to make it green. And the copywriting, I'm not ready for that, so I'm going to make it red. And you can use fill colors to get yourself a little production plan here. And the final thing I want to show you about this calculator is that if you hit this arrow right here and you go to this field, you can duplicate this sheet. So you could rename this sheet to 2019 and put in everything you've done this year, and then duplicate it, and then call this duplicated one 2020. And if you want to make plans for next year and monitor what you've done last year, then you can do that in this calculator. Okay, so that is your first bonus, is the revenue calculator. And there's two more coming up at the end. But first, before I get to the other two bonuses, I want to tell you about the program that I'm launching in Q4. My goal for 2020 is I want to help a dozen entrepreneurs to double their revenue in 2020. And this is how I want to do it, is I want to spend 3 months working on the cornerstones of platforms. And the 90-day profit accelerator is how I'm going to do it. We spend 3 weeks working on every cornerstone. We look at what you sell. We list out all of your offers in a value ladder. And I've got Google Docs and templates for each one of these. We've got the revenue calculator that we just went over. We're also going to map out your sales funnel. And if you have multiple sales funnels, we're going to map all those out in parallel. And these Google Docs are going to be part of the work for every week. Every week, I'm going to give you a Google Doc workbook, show you how to use it. And in this live training program, we're going to work through it together, where you get feedback from me on what you're creating and from your peers in the group. This is not a pre-recorded course. This is a live training program. We spend 3 weeks on what you say, not your messaging about your expertise, but how you sell the offers that you have available. I've got fill-in-the-blank templates for creating compelling calls to action. And I've also got some really good workbooks to create promotional copy very quickly, so that when you have a sales page to promote, I can make 24 promotional posts across all the different social media platforms just with some copy and paste. And this copy and paste copywriting is really fun, and I'm looking forward to showing you how that works. We're also going to lay out a content strategy so you know what to post, where to post it, and how often. We're going to spend 3 weeks on your systems and do a complete audit of your email onboarding sequence. When everybody who enrolls in this program is going to get a subscription to their email sequence from a testing address that I have. And then I'm going to document in a Google Doc with screenshots and the copy directly in the document what's happening in your email onboarding sequence. And then you're going to get my hands in the document where I give you suggestions and I provide copy that you can use to sell and cross-sell your offers. We're going to do an audit of how the purchase process works and document every step of the way so that we can identify any friction that's happening and make it a smoother process for your customers. And I'm going to help you identify the KPIs that are important for you to monitor on your business. This way you can get a monthly pulse on what's happening in your business and you'll know where to focus your attention. We also spend 3 weeks on your strategy. We set goals for the program and for 2020. We research your competition to find out what's working and what's not. And we identify how they are talking to their audience so that you can get some ideas on how to talk to your own. And then we make a launch calendar so that everything you want to make with 2020 has a project plan. And these 12 weeks are going to upgrade your platform so that you can double your revenue in 2020. That's my plan, is to help entrepreneurs who want to double their revenue to upgrade their platform to do it. And we do it with these 12 workbooks. For the last 5 years, I've been doing a lot of work with high-level clients, and I've been taking notes. Anytime I do a webinar launch, I take notes in Trello and in Google Docs to make a template so that I can do it more quickly and easily next time, but also so that I can share with others the methodology that I've developed to do these things. And working through these workbooks together looks like this. Every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, which is 8 a.m. New Zealand on Tuesday, that's my time. Every Monday, we meet at this time on Zoom, on a webinar just like this. But instead of a webinar, it's a meeting. It's more collaborative. I spend 30 minutes demonstrating how to use the workbook and providing case studies on how they're used, and then open up the floor for Q&A. And so for the next 30 minutes, if you have questions about how this is applied to your business or how to integrate it with your platform, we go through those details together. Then we take a 3-hour break and we come back for show and tell, where you share what you've created with the group and you get feedback from your peers. Now you can do this entire 12-week program on Mondays or on Fridays when we do the same sessions. So this is flexible. You can show up on Mondays and do all the work on Monday or all the work on Friday, or you can show up to the first meeting on Monday and the last meeting on Friday, and you've got all week in between to do the workbook. So this is built for flexibility. You can show up to as many or as few of these meetings as you want. I'll also send around recordings. So if you just want to do the recordings and do the work, you can. But the live interaction is part of the benefit of this program. And everybody who completes their workbook by Friday is going to get my personal feedback and in-document comments and edits by the next Monday. So I'm going to be spending my weekends revising and upgrading the workbooks of everybody who's in this program. There's also an additional bonus meeting on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. It's a 1-hour accountability mastermind. And I've been hosting masterminds for years, and I charge $500 a month for my weekly masterminds, but I'm including it as a free bonus in this program, and this is optional. You can show up on Wednesdays and declare your commitments to the group. And then next Wednesday, we'll check in and say, did you make your commitments? We follow the accountability formula in this mastermind, where we start by reading Andrew Carnegie's mastermind opening, the same opening he began his masterminds with. We talk about our wins, we talk about our challenges, and we make our commitments. And that's the format. And all members of the 90-Day Profit Accelerator are also going to have access to this mastermind. The price of this program is $2,950. There's a $250 deposit to reserve your spot, and then 3 monthly payments of $900 that are due on the 15th of September, October, and November, and a small discount if you make payment in full. This program is going to be best for people who have a website and an email list and offers to sell, and they can devote 1 afternoon per week or 2 to 5 hours, however you divide it up. It's not going to be a good match if you don't have your website and your email list set up, and if you don't know what you're selling yet. And if you can't commit to 1 afternoon per week, then I just don't think it's the right time. Because I want to get a group of people who are willing to do the work on their platform, who are ready to see results in 2020. People who are at the showroom level and they want to move to the stage. This is my specialty, is helping people make this transition. And the way that I do it is through Cornerstones. And I've got a lot of content around Cornerstones and helping people upgrade them. And so I'm looking to work with some people this next quarter to accelerate their profit into 2020. So now I'm going to give you your bonuses. The first bonus, the revenue calculator, you've got the link in chat. I'll also provide a link in the email that goes out delivering the replay. The second bonus is only for members of this webinar, the webinar only sidecar. If you want to enroll someone on your staff or an assistant, I'll waive the deposit fee for the second seat in the program, and their seat will be at half price. So you're welcome to enroll a staff member by themselves to work on your platform, or you can enroll yourself and share the workbooks and get some copywriting done by people on your staff. But if you both want to join, then this is a special offer that's only for people viewing this webinar, that the second seat is at half price with no deposit. The third bonus is a customized video homepage review. And this is where I go through your homepage and I make a short video screencast that's 5 to 7 minutes long. And I tell you 4 things that I like and 4 things that I would improve about your homepage. And people find these really useful. To get an experienced website designer to take a look at their homepage and give them feedback on what's working and what needs some improvement. Erin Donnelly, who's already on the call today, she was one of my first homepage reviews last year, and that was really fun to do. And so I'll give a homepage review to everybody who applies for this program before September 1st. And so this is a fast action bonus. It's only for people who apply for the Profit Accelerator before September 1st. All of those applications, I'm also going to provide a complimentary video homepage review before the program begins on September 15th. So you know what's gotten you to where you are so far. To get somewhere new is going to take some new thinking and some new action. And if you want to upgrade your platform and you want to double your revenue, you can hire me to do it for you one-on-one. But it's expensive. It costs 12 grand and it takes 3 months. And I put in 5 hours per week just on your platform. But for a fraction of the cost, you can do this, you can have the same outcome and get my experience and expertise working on your platform with a group of your peers. And there's a number of bonuses that come with this program. There's the video homepage review for anybody who enrolls before September 1st. There's the email onboarding audit, which I typically charge $1,000 for just to produce this document. I also charge $1,000 for a post-purchase audit, but it's part of what we're going to be producing in this Profit Accelerator when we document every stage of your purchase process. There's the Accountability Mastermind, which is typically $500 a month, but it's free as a bonus for everybody who's in this program. There's the 4 weekly group training sessions, which is really what this program is about, is the live training. But you also get me with my eyes on your platform, giving you advice. You've got unlimited email access to me. You produce a new piece of content, you want some feedback on it, you shoot me a link via email. I look it over within the next couple of days and give you feedback. The value of this program is $9,549. And if you enroll before September 1st, you get all of these bonuses for $2,950. And this is the price that I'm asking people to pay who want to double their revenue in 2020. And if you're one of those people, then I'd love to work with you. And so that concludes the Foresight 2020 webinar. And I'd like to open the floor to questions. If you've got a question, you can either type a question mark into the chat box and I'll unmute you so that you can ask your question verbally, or you can just type in your question in the chat box. You can ask me a question about the program, about any of the content we went over, about online course development, about branding. The floor is open. So if anybody has any questions, then I would be happy to answer some. Oh, neat. Zoom has this Q&A option, which I've never seen. So you can pop your questions into the Q&A box or the chat box. That's fun. Wendy, you're still developing product and identifying client. Yeah, that's the soapbox to the showroom stage. And I don't have an offer right now, but I'm planning on developing something in 2020 for helping you make that transition. Aaron asks, if I were to hire a VA to help implement things while doing this program, how much should I allot for that? That's a great question. If you were to integrate a VA into working with this program, this is probably how I would see it go. Because you're a writer, Aaron, and your voice isn't something that you would want to outsource. A lot of the content that we create in this program is going to be copy. It's going to be the actual written words. And so, we would spend a week working on, your promo copy doc. Let's start with that. I'll show you what the promo copy doc looks like and give you an example of how your VA could work with this. Okay, so with the promo copy doc, I would see you working on this and then handing it over to your VA. So this is one of the documents that we would be using, one of the workbooks we would use in the program. And the way that it works is for every offer, you make a copy of this document. You put in the title, you put in the lead, you write a summary, you take a quote, and you do all these things, right? And then you do a simple find and replace so that you have all these Facebook posts. And then you have all these Twitter posts with hashtags. And then you have all these LinkedIn posts. And so after producing this content, then you could hand this over to a VA and say, hey, post this into Buffer for me. Or, hey, repurpose this into newsletters for me. And so that's one of the ways that you could use your VA to work on this program. All right. Kathleen asks, love myth 3. How do you help people get over the sales icky factor? Yeah, I think my best answer for that is by having your sales automated. I'm a big fan of making offers passively through email that are targeted to people who are facing the problem. So for instance, when I talked about Lee Holden and he had a lead magnet for the 5-day Qigong course. People who go through that course, we know they're interested in Qigong. And so when he says, hey, I've got this 30-day course that you might like. It's just like the 5-day course, except there's more videos. They're all 7 minutes long. I'll deliver them to you every day via email. It's $30. Here's the link. What do you think? Lee doesn't have to promote that offer. He doesn't have to feel icky about asking people to buy it because all he's got to do is offer his free course. And so that's the best way to get over the sales icky factor. But there's another way that I do want to highlight, which is working on your pitch. For instance, this whole webinar that I provided to you is basically a pitch. I'm pitching my program. I did it by providing a ton of value for you up front. I spent 40 minutes providing ideas and expertise and insight and way and case studies on how you can achieve the goal you want to achieve, which is doubling your revenue. And then I made an offer on how I can help you further achieve that goal. So that's the best way, I'd say, to get over the sales icky factor is give value first. Give a lot of value and then follow it up with an offer that solves the same problem where you were giving value. Hope that makes sense. Aaron asks, how much money would that cost typically to hire the VA? If you go through the Philippines, which is a very popular destination to find VAs because their English is great, they have a good work ethic, and it's great for North Americans to hand off some work that's done while they sleep, and then they get to review it when they wake up. And if you had a Philippines VA for $5 to $8 an hour, you can get somebody who does basic repurposing tasks like that. What I've heard thrown around for a full-time business manager, for a VA who took on more advanced assistance for your business, would be, you'd be looking at full-time $500 to $1,000 a month. And personally, I don't have a business manager. I'm probably going to get one in 2020 because the people that I'm working with in Thought Leaders Business School, which is a program that I'm enrolled in, a lot of them have VAs in the Philippines. And the general cost that they talk about is it's $500 to $1,000 a month for a full-time business manager. And that gets you higher level skills than just post this in my social media auto posting queue. That gets you much more advanced, people who can reply to emails, people who can handle modifying your payment gateway, things like that. So, I'd recommend earmarking 300 on the low end to 1,000 on the high end per month for what you want to put towards a VA. All right. So if anybody has any other questions, I encourage you to type them in the chat box. You can even ask questions like, what does New Zealand look like right now? And I will show you what it looks like outside my window. but only if you ask. You have to ask a question. All right, so one last time, I'm going to remind you the link. Aha, so Aaron asks 2,600 today or 2,950 spread out. Great question. So this slide goes over the specifics. It's 2,950 total. After applying, there's a $250 deposit to secure your spot. And that reduces the 2,950 down to 2,700. You can either pay the balance with monthly payments on the 15th of the month of September, October, and November. You'd owe $900 on the 15th of each of those 3 months. Or if you pay in full by September 15th, then I knock off $100. And so that's how the payment structure works. And the link to apply is here on the bottom. I'm just going to take you to the sales page real quick. If you go to stellarplatforms.com/profit, and I'll send you this link a lot. Since you registered for this webinar, you're on my email list, and you're probably going to hear a lot about this. I do want to let you know that you can mute the launch campaign, and there's a link if you want to mute the campaign without unsubscribing from my newsletter. But I am going to let you know about it unless you enroll, and then you get an automatic mute from the launch emails. But I'm going to be talking about this a lot for the next 2 weeks. This sales page goes over all the specifics. Many of the things that I talked about here on the webinar, I go in detail on what we're doing week by week here on the sales page. And just scrolling down past all these 12 weeks, I've got an FAQ that answers a lot of recordings or answers a lot of questions, such as, will there be recordings? Of course, we are not savages. There will be recordings. The total time investment is 1 afternoon per week. And then I've also got the specific times of the live workshops. I've even got a few links here where you can put these times on your calendar. So if you want to know, will these times work for me, you can click on these links and add these items to your calendar and see if it's going to work with other things that you already have scheduled. And each of these buttons that say apply now, when you click on that button, it's going to take you to the application form. And this application form is going to give me the lowdown on your business. This is going to give me the basics to make sure that you're a match. I'm not going to accept everybody. If somebody applies and I don't think that their platform is at the right level to really get the value out of this program, then I might recommend that they not join the program. And I want to make sure that we have a good fit of people in the program, because we're going to be spending a lot of time together. We're going to be doing a lot of work together over the next 12 weeks. And this is the kind of work that I love to do. And I'm really excited to share this work with you. So if you think that you would be a good match for this program, I recommend that you apply. And if you have any further questions, just email me, Caelan@stellarplatforms.com, or shoot me a message on Slack or Skype or Twitter or LinkedIn or all the things, because I'm everywhere. And I want to help you get everywhere and share your message everywhere so that people in your target market know how to become your customers smoothly and easily. Thanks so much, everybody, for attending. I really enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you did too. Good luck out there. Oh, last thing. If you know anybody who would be a good match for this program, somebody who's at the showroom level and they want to get to the stage, they have a website and they have an email list, but they want to double their revenue next year, share this sales page with them. Just send them the link, stellarplatforms.com/profit, and say, hey, I think you'd like this. Today's revelation from Aaron. I've been talking about what I want to say more than what my customers are paying for. Ooh, that's juicy. That's good. I have ideas on that. And so I hope you enroll, because we can dig real deep on that. I've got some great ideas on that. Thanks so much, everybody. I look forward to seeing you in the program. Have fun out there.